Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rundown. This is episode number 27. Today is Sunday, October 3rd, the 27th Sunday in Ordinary Time. St. Francis of Assisi. Tomorrow we have a couple options of saints as we begin the week. Our Lady of the Rosary on Thursday. And again, some more options on Saturday, the 28th Sunday. On next Sunday, in St. Pope John Paul, the 23rd, next Monday. A lot less white in terms of the colors we're wearing at Mass this week, and more green. 'Tis the season. Here are my top 25 after this week. Quite the shakeup with lots of top 25 matchups. Of course, Alabama, Ole Miss, so a bit of a change up there. Georgia, Arkansas, get those teams to move around a little bit, as well as Notre Dame, Cincinnati, those teams moving their spots as well. I note that Notre Dame is on here twice. And that second time, number 24 should be Texas A&M at the moment. Fresno State and UCLA are still playing as I make this video. So again, as is the theme, I'll just put down below any changes to the top 25 if necessary, if those teams lose or have a close game. Again, that overtime game with Clemson losing, moving them down. Oregon falling to Stanford, moving them down. So again, lots of change-ups this week. And this is just kind of how we're looking. Oklahoma finally beating K-State after 3 years, the first time since I've been a student at OU. So anyways, lots of crazy things going on in the world of college football. This is my top 25. Let's move on to the weather. Nothing too crazy at the moment. We have one of the longest lasting major hurricanes on record. It's been a hurricane for over a week now. Hurricane Sam now weakening as it makes its way up into the northeastern Atlantic Ocean is the direction that it's heading. Tropical depression Victor, brief tropical storm, became decently strong but remained a tropical storm. Now is weakening, and we're going to get a bit of lull of activity here in the Atlantic for at least the next probably week or so, maybe a bit shorter than that. We'll probably have something to talk about next week on the rundown as well. For Columbus, we're going to be steady this week in terms of temperatures, so at least you'll be wearing the same sorts of things, but it's not necessarily the easiest to dress for. Mid-upper 70s for the highs, lower 60s for the lows, so cool in the morning and somewhat warm, especially if you get some full sun in the afternoons. Up to an inch of rain by Monday morning from now until Monday morning. Then we're looking at another half inch or so from Wednesday into Thursday in terms of rain, potentially a bit of storms as well. In Norman, we can divide the week pretty much in two. If we take everything Wednesday and before, it's going to be average temperatures, highs in low 80s, lows in the mid 70s. If we take everything Thursday and afterward, we're going to be slightly above average temperatures, highs in the upper 80s, lows in the mid 60s. Still going to be pretty chilly in those mornings, but of course not quite as chilly as it will be to start the week and has been. It's been really nice having some sort of fall weather here in Norman. I'm getting very much liking that very much. Coronavirus video update number 91. Here we go. Daily new cases mostly down across the board. There were some increases though. Notre Dame, Idaho, North Dakota, up in that region of the United States, not doing too hot, increasing by more than 10%. Joining them is Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, New Hampshire, and Oregon. So 7 states increasing by 10% or more in this past week, but generally most of the states decreasing over this past week. Daily new deaths, now we're down to 9 states increasing by 10%. It was 15 states increasing by 10% last week. It was 20 the week before that. This week, Connecticut, Idaho, Kentucky, Minnesota, Missouri, Ohio, Oregon, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia are those states. Again, Idaho and West Virginia are really not doing well at all right now. In really those general areas, in the West Virginia area, in the Wyoming, Montana, Idaho area isn't doing too hot at the moment. And of course, the United States Southeast, but they haven't been doing too well during this whole pandemic. Current hospitalizations generally down, except for, again, in those states where it's increasing. Again, that the area near Idaho as well as West Virginia not doing too hot as we speak. In the ICU, also, again, the same theme. Most states are decreasing aside from West Virginia, Wyoming, Idaho, those areas. So generally doing pretty good. Daily vaccinations also doing pretty good across the board, except for West Virginia. If you haven't got the theme yet, West Virginia is not the place to be. It's funny. I would love to study West Virginia versus the other states. West Virginia was the last state in the continental 48 to get a COVID-19 case at the very beginning. If you remember the early versions of these coronavirus video updates, or maybe I wasn't even doing videos back then on it, West Virginia was the state we were talking about because they didn't have anything. So anyways, West Virginia is in its own little bubble there. That's what we learned from this pandemic. It does its own thing. Even with all its panhandles touching all the states it can, here we are. So anyways, that's just interesting. But we're doing pretty good. I mean, most states actually getting more daily vaccinations than they were this time last week. Last week, also community transmission was, not the best. I mean, still mostly red. Obviously, a few orange counties throughout there. It's kind of hard to see that. But we move on to this week. We see a few orange counties, a few more orange counties even. And we're also starting to see some yellow moderate counties pop up, especially throughout the central United States. Puerto Rico is almost completely yellow at this point, which is, of course, good news. And we also see a few pockets of blue showing up, meaning we have low community transmission rates in those counties. So again, we're getting there. You can tell we're on the decline, not only because the numbers are, community transmission is also decreasing. Many of the northeastern counties actually are orange now as well, aside from just the central United States, which appears to be doing very well according to this, probably mainly because it's more rural, and that certainly helps. Vaccinations, of course, still on the rise, which is good news. Again, nothing too crazy, but still doing pretty good across the board as we see fully vaccination rates also doing pretty good, or around 50% across the board. And that holds up as we see here, 56% of the population fully vaccinated at this point. Of those eligible, 65%. And again, 94% of those over age 65 have at least one dose of this vaccine. And the booster shots are out and running. Of those over age 18, if you've been fully vaccinated, of those fully vaccinated, 2.7% have received the booster shot so far, and 6.5% of those over age 65 have already received that booster. Again, moving right along for these old people getting these shots, and it makes sense. I mean, this pandemic has not been easy on them. Isolation, it's not good for their mental health. We speak a lot about mental health in young people because our generation is finally a generation where they're paying attention to it at a young age. But I think it's very important with these older people in isolation, not being able to see people because they're at risk, and so they're doing their part in getting vaccinated and apparently going out in droves to get their booster shots as well, because they want the pandemic to end just as much as I hope you do and I do as well. Forecast infections continue to decrease. Of course, good news. Again, I can't complain about anything at this point as long as we keep on going down. That's all I care about. Speaking about going down, the United States current case rate actually decreased about 10,000 from last week. I know it's not big, but we were increasing the past several weeks. We're finally back on the decline, which is good news. Of course, deaths, cases still going up, but recoveries are outpacing those, which is very, very good news. Florida's on the decline. Texas is on the decline. California's still staying about even, and several other states not doing too hot. Idaho joining the top 10, kicking out Ohio. Ohio's now at 11 for those wondering back at home. But Ohio did decrease in this past week as well. As for our top 10 active countries, like I said, United States on the decline. United Kingdom is about even, but slightly over. And so they're still colored red on there. Many other countries doing decently at the moment. Iran, one of those, dropping 3 slots. They were number 4 last week. Now they're number 6. So Turkey and Brazil hopped them and took Brazil's old spot. Honduras continues to increase. Poland joins the top 10 now. And we can see our worldwide current information right there. We're down 360,000 cases worldwide in the past week. And that's all I have for this week's episode of The Rundown. I'll see you guys next time. Chris Hickson of Weather, Catholic Media.